Welcome to the Missoula Dems Show. I'm Andy, chair of the Missoula County Democrats.
And I'm Allison, the Missoula County Democrats organizer.
And we are joined today by our very special guest, Robin Kendall, who's running for the legislature in House District 94. Welcome, Robin.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
All right, we're excited to have you here. Thank you for running for office. Okay, let's dive into the questions. First one I got, can you tell us about the position you're running for and the area within Missoula County that you will be representing?
Absolutely. So House District 94 here in Missoula County, that encompasses the Patty Canyon Far Views, Upper South Hills, not Lower South Hills, Mansion Heights, Linda Vista, and Miller Creek neighborhood. So that entire kind of swath of the hill up there.
Very cool. And the position is within the state legislature, right?
Yes, within the state legislature. Marilyn Mahler has been the representative for that district for several terms, and she's termed out, so I'm hoping to replace her.
Awesome. And what made you want to run for office?
That's a little bit of a story, and I did mention earlier I'm a Southerner.
We love a story.
So you got to stick with me. I started getting involved in politics in Missoula in like 2014, 15, 16. I was living over in Orchard Homes, and I'll do a little name drop now. Willis Curdy was the representative for that district at the time, and he knocked on my door several times. And just through conversation, started getting interested in getting involved. So I started coming to some central committee meetings, and I became a precinct person. I think the titles have kind of changed now, but I became a precinct person and then a committee person, and then was on the e-board for a short amount of time. And in 2016, I helped Carol Williams run the Hillary campaign here for Missoula County, and so helped with all the coordination of phone banking and things like that during that campaign, with really the intent of stepping into politics at a higher level. And then my wife Amelia, her career kind of took a bit of a turn, and she had the opportunity to become a principal owner at the environmental consulting company that she was working for at the time, which meant longer hours, more time, and then buying into that company. So it just wasn't the right time. And our kids, our boys are 4 and 8 at the time. So it just didn't work out right then. They're 14 and 18 now. And 2024 happened. And I had a conversation with Amelia and said, hey, I really feel like I need to find somewhere to plug into again. And I didn't know if that would be school board, city council, like what that would flush out to look like. So I started having some conversations with, I think one of the first ones was with Denise Juneau, and then Diane Sands and Zoe Zephyr and Melody Cunningham, like these women that are either have been very involved in politics or are currently. And I think it was Diane that said, well, don't you live in House District 94? And I said, yes, ma'am, I do. And she said, well, you know, Maryland's terming out. Maybe that's where you need to plug in. So I came home and talked it over with my family, and I really wanted my boys' buy-in on it, because we all know, you know, you run for office, you're public facing, it's going to impact your kids. And they were like, absolutely, and you would be perfect. So that's what I needed to hear, and here we are today.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love to hear that you like started as a precinct captain, and that was kind of like the gateway into eventually running.
The gateway
That
drug
probably just made your
politics.
day.
Yeah,
Allison is, her day job is recruiting precinct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, what will some of your legislative priorities be, Robin?
You know, knocking on doors ahead of the primary, and thanks to climate change, I was able to start doing that in about mid-January. So I had lots of conversations, and a lot of those conversations were around, you know, cost of living, affordability, housing, property taxes, healthcare, the changes that people were seeing coming to, Medicaid requirements, and all the hoops that people are having to now jump through, and how hard that process is. And it's made intentionally that way, right? And then Also, public education. Both of my boys are in public school here in Missoula. One just finished up his high school career, and the other will be a sophomore at Sentinel. And so ensuring that our teachers are taken care of, that our support staff, bus drivers, custodians, everyone, that they know that they're going to have a wage that's going to sustain them, that they're going to be supported not only at the local level but at the state and federal levels. All of those things are extremely important to me on so many different levels. So those will definitely be things that I'll be wanting to focus on. I did happen to mention that my wife is an environmental scientist, and so making sure that our public lands and that we can see outside the direct effects of climate change and what's happening right now, and we just have to do better. I want my kids to be able to stay here, to afford to stay here and live here and buy their first home, and right now wages aren't pacing with cost of living and housing in the state of Montana. And we've got to do better than that. And just ensuring that our small businesses are taken care of as well. I started, my first job here in Montana was working in the outdoor industry, and then I kind of shifted away from that and started working for some local tech startups. So I got to see that side of the business starting from the ground up, and needing the support of grant funding and the support of different local agencies to really be able to bolster those businesses and make sure that they got traction under them and then became successful. And so making sure that our small businesses are able to remain here. We saw lots of businesses post-COVID all throughout Missoula and Montana have to shutter their doors. And our local small businesses and our local workforce are the backbone of our communities, and making sure that they're taken care of is a big priority as well.
Yeah, definitely. For the past few sessions, Democrats have been the minority party in the Montana House, and odds are we will most likely face another session in the minority, although we hope we pick up a few more seats.
That's right.
What will your strategy be to move your priorities and agenda forward and ultimately pass legislation as a member of the minority party?
I think I mentioned, or if I didn't mention it, you probably hear it in my accent. I am not from Montana. I am from a very rural part of the South, born in Louisiana, raised in Mississippi, in a very conservative household. I have had to have many, many hard conversations around the dinner table or across the table from people that I don't necessarily see eye to eye with. And at the end of those conversations, often that was breaking bread together, which I think is important in the process. I hope that I'm able to do that with people across the aisle when I'm in Helena, because I think we come from a place of vulnerability when we're sharing a meal together. Sometimes eating isn't all that pretty, right? So we're vulnerable to a degree, and we're able to let our guard down and have some real conversations. And so I was able to do that my whole life with family members, with friends that I did not see eye to eye with. But at the end of the conversation, we could at least look at each other and say, "Hey, I see you, I hear you. I might not agree with you, but we can try to find some common ground. And I still care about you and love you, and I want what's best for you." And I think, if we look at the 2025 session, we had the necessary 9 that met us in the middle, and we were able to find common ground and move some really meaningful legislation forward for all Montanans, and we're going to have to continue to do that. And we can't come from these places of, well, you're a Republican, you're a Democrat, you don't see eye to eye with me, so we're never going to be able to work together. That has to stop.
Right.
And I've already done that my whole life, so I can do it again.
I noticed how you said the necessary 9 instead of the nasty
Yes.
9. Because, I mean, I agree with you. You're correct. Like, if it wasn't for those 9 Republicans in the Senate, so much super important legislation wouldn't have gotten passed, like expanding Medicare. Like,
Absolutely.
eliminating the sunset, like, it was so important. And unfortunately, some of those Republicans got primaried this last election because their own party kicked them out because they worked with Democrats. And, like, you know, we are partisan people in our day jobs, but, like, we still have to elect people that will work with the other side in
Absolutely.
Helena.
And that's not who we are at our core as Montanans.
Yeah.
Like when someone's broken down on the side of the road, or their fence falls at their farm or their ranch, or a windstorm comes through, I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent or a libertarian. I'm going to ask you, do you need help? How can I help you? And you're going to ask me the same thing. And that's what we need to do more of in Helena.
Yeah. Yeah, and they voted with Democrats because their constituents needed those services.
Yep.
And they listened to their constituents.
Yeah.
So keep calling. Keep calling your representatives, because they have to listen. They need to listen. They should listen.
Yeah.
What do you think are some of the biggest challenges Montanans, everyday Montanans, are faced with? How can the legislature alleviate some of these burdens and work to make the lives of Montanans better?
I think, again, on the doors, cost of living, cost of housing, property taxes, healthcare. People are really concerned about that. We did some great work around Medicaid for Montana, but at the federal level, they're making it harder and harder for people to qualify or stay qualified for those services. And that's going to impact our rural communities the most. So we need to make sure that we've got broadband out in our rural communities so that they can log on and they can see where they are in the process and do all the necessary steps to stay enrolled with Medicaid. The changes to ACA, as the premiums, start to go up, and they're going to go up again. People are going to have to make decisions of putting food on the table or paying for health care. And we proclaim and profess to be the richest country in the world. Montanans and Americans shouldn't have to make those decisions between putting food on the table and paying for health care and being healthy. But unfortunately, that's where we are. So continuing to fight for those things, ensuring that people are able to have access to health care, making sure that they have access to telehealth. Again, we need broadband. We need to be able to get online. We need to be able to have these conversations through telehealth as local offices are having to close. I don't think we've had any hospitals close in rural communities, but we've seen doctors have to move out and close their offices. So if we can make telehealth services available, and that's mental health, that's recovery services, we've got to make sure that all of those services are in place for our rural communities as well as our urban. I heard that repeatedly. Women's health care. We've got to make sure that women continue to have the right to bodily autonomy and make those decisions for themselves. Luckily, Montana's done a good job of solidifying that for women, but we haven't done that for LGBTQI+. We haven't done that for our transgender community members, and we've got to do that. Montanans really, I don't think, want to be in each other's business. Really, that's kind of part of being a Montanan, is that you are going to live your life the way you want to live it, and I'm going to live my life the way I want to live it. And we just need to continue to do that. And some of the really divisive legislation that tried to come through in 2025, it's going to happen again. And we just have to be ready for it and continue to fight for it, fight against it, and stand up for every single Montanan, not just certain sectors of our community.
Yeah.
Did that answer the question?
Totally.
Absolutely.
Good answer. Multiple answers.
What is your strategy to win in November?
Well, I know y'all know this. A lot of people out there might not know this, but I won by 28 whole votes my primary. So I'm going to continue with the strategy that we already had in place. I'm an extrovert. I'm a people person, and I love talking to people. So I really enjoyed going door to door and having those conversations. So we've got a plan to continue doing that. We're already doing it, and we've got even more people that are willing to go out and do it with me. At this level, it was really important to me that I be out knocking doors at the same time that my friends or family members were, so that if they are having a conversation, they can text me, call me, or yell across the street at me and say, Robin, come over here. This person wants to talk to you. And so we're going to continue doing that again. Have the conversations with people that I don't see eye to eye with. I had people tell me, we are a strong Republican household, and I said, that's great. When I'm elected, I'm going to be representing you just as much as I'm going to be representing the Democrat or the Independent or the Libertarian across the street. So I would still love to hear what's important to you. And it shocked people. So I'm going to continue to do that. I got a couple of events coming up, one at the end of the month. I'll have some information out about that at a friend's house in the district. I do live in the district. I've been living in House District 94 since 2017. So I know what impacts my neighborhood specifically, but I've really enjoyed getting out into Linda Vista and Miller Creek and having those conversations with folks, because there are different concerns. You got the horses, right? And so I've had some really great conversations with commissioners and with constituents about the horses, about deer, about our parks and what's happening with them, and making sure that they remain accessible to all community members.
Very good. Last question. How can folks get involved and support you?
Well, my email address is robinkendall, 4montana@gmail.com. Email me. My website is robinkendall, 4montana.org. You can reach me through my website. And my Act Blue is Robin Kendall, I think it's HD94. Or Robin Kendall MT HD94. But you can get to it through my website.
And that's to donate to your campaign?
Yeah, to donate to my campaign. And that goes directly to mailers and flyers and signs and being able to buy snacks and water for my door knockers. So it all goes directly into actionable things for the campaign.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Anything else you want to add before we end our interview today?
I just really appreciate the opportunity to be here. I so appreciate both of you and all the work that you do. I've been able to see it firsthand, and y'all are amazing. Go to the fair, stop by the table. I don't know if this is airing before during the fair.
We'll get it out there.
Okay. You can have lots of great conversations there, learn more about your other candidates, and I promise you, I have 3 brothers, and they have always referred to me as the little bulldog. I will not, while I am willing to meet people in the middle and have those hard conversations and try to find common ground, I will not back away from my values and from what I know is important to my constituents. So I hope to earn your vote and your trust, and we'll fight for all of us in Helena.
All right. Well, that's Robin Kendall running for House District 94 in the Montana State Legislature. Thanks for joining us today, everybody. We'll see you next time, and vote for Robin.